Yes. So, my name is Jennifer.
Hey guys, I'm Chantel.
So, this is the first time that we're here talking and speaking, and you're going to forgive us for the ins and outs or whatever you're going to see because
For sure.
we're making it happen. We want to have this conversation and we're going to make it happen regardless. So, we're going to work with what we got, and this is what it is. So we set it up. We were pretty much starting the conversation. We were catching up for a little bit, and there was a lot of things that we talked about, which we will revisit. And basically, what got us to this table is the fact that, right, we've been friends since high school.
Yes.
We were like best friends in high
school. But somewhere we fell apart.
I feel like that's life. Like, you just fall apart. You have so many friends that you come in connection with, you make these connections, and you fall apart, and you know, the universe will put you back in the track. So we never really lost. Like,
touch, yeah. We're still like, you know, how you have the Facebook friends and following, you still hit each other up. But like, you know, hey, how you doing? That's how it was. So it wasn't like we lost touch, but we weren't as close as we used to be. So
yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And so we were able to see each other's growth through social media.
Which I think is awesome too, because you never know what a person's going through till you see on social media what they're going through. And I think that's what got us here for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
So, I'm a firm believer, like, you just gotta really pay attention, and then you'll see, like, what the person is going through. So, I reached out to her because I realized, I'm like, listen, I feel like we're both in connection here. Like, we're both going through something that we definitely need to speak about. She's a teenage mother. I was a teenage mother. You know, she has 3 kids. I have 2 kids, and they're from different people as well.
Yes.
Me too. Yeah. So we have a lot in
common. Yeah.
We have a lot in common, and so now we're both going through transitions out of old situations and basically loving ourselves. So I want to touch first and foremost because we reconnected a lot through Queen Warriors.
Yes. And Queen Warriors is so amazing. So when I hit up Jen and I was like going watching Fabi and, you know, doing little videos that she was posting on her Instagram because I didn't join yet. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to practice at home and just see what she's doing because I'm not paying for that. And one day I seen Jen post and I'm like, oh, snap. Okay, she's on Queen Warriors. Let me ask her how this is before I go ahead and pay. I was like, oh, Jen, how is it? Whatever. She's like, girl, she loves it. And I was like, well, I'm sold. Because if you love it, I'm about to love it. And I love it. It has changed my life. And I think that's what has gotten me to become happy again, in a sense. Not only leaving the relationship I was in, but I think it was the start of Queen Warriors opening my eyes to have me realize my self-worth and to become a better woman for myself and for my children and to change not only my mind, but my body. And yeah, it was a lot, but I'm here.
100%. I feel like I joined Queen Warriors basically when it first started, right? And it was more so for the looks. Like, I didn't like how I looked, so I wanted to lose weight. I wanted to change, and something wasn't clicking either way. Like, I love the program, and, you know, I just wasn't consistent either way. Something wasn't clicking. I was still, everybody was getting the best of me, and finally, like, a year and a half in, I really didn't like what I saw in the mirror, and I'm just like, nobody's gonna be able to do this work for me. Like, nobody's gonna be able to complete this. I really have to be consistent. And I read a book, and I always mention this book because it really truly changed my life, The 5 a.m. Club. And it talks about how you manifest the life of your dreams, but you gotta put certain things into place, into action.
Put stuff into your body and change. Yes.
So I said, pretty much it talks about getting up early in the morning and getting in your workout or your movement, 20 minutes of movement as soon as you get up. And I told myself, I'm like, I always thought that should be it because we're in the medical field, right? So we know that there's certain hormones that are higher
in the morning, then at night, in the afternoon. That is for sure. Yes,
and you would burn more fat and you would lose more weight if you do it in the morning.
Yes.
So I said, you know what, I'm enough with the games. Like, enough with the games. Like, Jen, I looked at myself in the mirror and I'm like, listen, girl, we
Get it together.
Get it together.
I don't like how you look anymore. We need to fix it like now.
I don't like how you feel. I don't like how you're behaving. I don't like how you are, presenting yourself. So you know what you need to do. You just gotta do the work. Like,
Yes.
as many books as you read, as much as you watch Fabi and all these girls getting results, ain't
Yes.
nothing gonna change.
Unless you change, and that's a fact. You could watch us, you can see everybody changing and transforming. Until you put in the work and do the work, you will not see a change. You can tell yourself you want to change. You can tell yourself you're going to lose 20 pounds. You're not going to do it unless you do it.
Absolutely. So I stuck to that, and I actually didn't see results. Like, I was very, very consistent. I was like changing my eating habits. I was drinking water, and I even got to believe, I'm like, you know what? I think something's wrong with my thyroid. Like, something has to be wrong, because when I was 25 and I would go in.
Yep, and you lose that weight, right? And now you're like 30 and you're like, hold up, this weight is not coming off.
What happened? Something happened when I turned 30.
Like, why am I not losing this weight? No, it does happen like that, because when I first started Queen Warriors 2, I was consistent for like 2 weeks, and then I fell off because a whole bunch of stuff. And then, like, Jen looked in the mirror, and I had pictures taken of me, and I looked at those pictures, and when I tell you I cried because I didn't know who I was looking at, I cried. I was never as heavy as I've been in my life till I seen those pictures. I was 181 pounds, and I was never more than 130 in high school. So that freaked me out because I wasn't pregnant. And like Jen said, we have medical history, and I do have thyroid problems, and that triggered also my weight gain, because Hashimoto's kicked in and it got really bad for me, and I knew I needed to change, and I wasn't still consistent with Queen Warriors until the beginning of this year, 2022, in January, when they did a challenge. And I was in my life, and I was like, I'm not happy with myself. I'm not happy with this relationship. I'm not happy with the progress in my life. And the first thing I'm going to change is my weight. And the first month, I was consistent. And I stayed consistent the second month. And the more consistent I was, the more weight I lost, and the more happier I felt about it. And if you see the changes in my body from January to now, you'll be like, what did you do? Because it was really a major difference. Like, that person is no longer here, not in the smile, not in the body, not at all. She is gone, and I'm so proud of that. And it was just Queen Warriors, staying with my diet. And it wasn't more so like everyone thinks, oh, you have to stop eating what you want to eat. No, you don't. You can figure out what's right for you. Some people like eating 3 meals a day. For me, it didn't work that way. I do intermittent fasting, and that's what works for me because my metabolism is better that way. I've never been a person to eat in the morning, not even in high school. So for me to eat in the morning, it would have messed me up and would have made me gain more weight. So everyone is different, but as long as you stick to what you're sticking to and you stay consistent with it, it's gonna work.
I have to add to that. I always had a constipation issue. My GI system has always been messed up. Like, I could never say I was the person that would go to the bathroom every day. No, that's not me. And no matter how hard I worked out, no matter how good I ate, no matter how much water, like, for me to use the bathroom that day, I was like, oh my God, yes. Like,
it finally came.
It was a party. I'm like, I called my best friend, like, girl, guess what happened today? I can't
because it was an accomplishment. Like, it didn't come.
So for me, I was reintroduced to these products to be able to detox my gut. And so just to be able to just flush everything out and rejuvenate, that changed the whole game for me. On top of doing the workouts and on top of everything I was doing, like, I was able to lose 15 pounds in 2 months. The 50 pounds that I couldn't lose from like April to now. So like for me, that
was a big major accomplishment. And you felt proud because you did something. Yeah.
Girl. And so finally do that. And to detox my mind on top of it, you got to remember all these things that we're eating. Like, this is good, right? I got these from the farmer's market. But, I mean, okay, let's just say I had a bunch of these.
Like, you be like, what y'all eating over there?
Listen, just to be fair, I got this one day.
But they're so good.
I was hungry. When I went to ShopRite, mind you, that's why I try not to go to ShopRite, girl, because I'm just like, I get a whole bunch of snacks. Mm-hmm. So, imagine I had a plate of these and just, I don't know, turkey and just a bunch of shit, right? Like all those things you don't realize, all these preservatives and all these additives, all this salt, like you don't realize how much
you put it in your body.
it clouds our blood, how much it really does. And sometimes you can work out and do all these things, but somehow your mind is still cloudy. You still strive to like.
Because what are you eating? What are you putting inside? You have to realize what you're putting inside is what you're gonna get out.
You are what you eat.
Yes.
You are what you eat. And so for me, it changed the game for me. And so when I started to lose the weight and I started to think better and my meditations got better, I got more connected, girl, everything else, I was just like, okay, I love all these things that I'm releasing. What else can I release?
What else am I going to write? And I think that's where the happiness came because, and it wasn't like I want to change my body and leave a situation. That's not what it was. I feel like, at least for me, I was in a situation where I felt like I was stuck for years. Because you have kids with people and you feel obligated to stay in a family and raise a family because in our generation, I feel like we didn't have our parents together, and that's what we wanted as having kids. We want we want to stay together for our kids when we don't realize that our parents left and it hurted us, but they did it for a good reason. And staying with your partner for your children is never the case. And working on myself, working on my body made me realize that next I had to work on the toxic environment I was around, the toxic environment I had my kids around, because just because I felt good outside, inside I felt like shit. Every day, just because I was working on my outside, my outside looked good, but the inside and the person next to me and the negativity that was said did not make me feel good. So
yeah, 100%. Like, and sometimes it don't need to be like in my case, like it doesn't have to be anything super super toxic. Sometimes it's subtle. Sometimes it's something that you don't even realize is toxic because hands aren't being put on you. Verbal abuse isn't really the case. Emotional abuse, not even so much. But sometimes you are a certain person when you get into situations, right? You still have so much growing to do. And as single mothers, we're at a disadvantage because we believe, or is drilled in our head, that we won't find anybody.
Who wants us?
We got pregnant as teenagers, and the first thing that was said, right? Oh, ain't nobody gonna love you with a kid.
Nobody gonna want to do with you and your child.
Nobody's gonna want you and your kid. So the moment that you do find somebody that's willing to accept you and your kid, like, you are like, oh, this is the one, because I was always told nobody's gonna want me. So this person wants me.
I need to stick to that person and figure it out.
This is my
Make
person.
it work.
This is my person. Like, you're showing me the love that everybody said I wouldn't get, and
I'm gonna go for that.
You're stuck with me, right? But then we don't give these people the opportunity to show who they really truly are, and if they really are showing you, we're not even in the right headspace to receive it and see it as a red flag and run away, right?
Because that's what we think we want.
Exactly. Right. Like, that definitely happened to me. Like, in my situation, or maybe in yours too, these people come into your lives, they make you, they uplift you, and they make you feel like, I'm here to make your life better.
Yeah.
I'm here to make your life better. And you're like, oh my God, yes. Like, that's what I need, because I have made my life already, a certain way.
So make it better.
If you're here to help me, then let's help each other.
Yes.
But it don't always work that way, and you're not equipped enough, especially at 21, 22, 20. I don't know how old you were when you got into the second one.
Yeah.
You're not equipped. You don't even know who you are.
No.
So you come into this situation, you're not fully whole at all. You don't even know what you want. You don't even know who you are. You're
just trying to get into your career if that's what you want to do and find a stable job. So trying to figure out if that was the man for you. That was not it.
You're just trying to survive.
Yes, and that's what I feel like we did. We survived because of the statistic we had on hand, and we had a person who was gonna take in you and your child, and you were like, yes, okay, that's my person. Okay, you want to add to it? at the moment you showed me that you can add to it, so I was going to stay because you added to it at that moment. And since we were already invested in that moment, once you didn't have it anymore and you weren't invested into us, it was like we noticed, like, hey, what happened? But I think we were so far gone that we couldn't get out of it to get out and run.
Now, and to add to that, you don't even feel like you should. You feel like, okay, this person added to my life at this point. I kind of owe this person because
Yes.
he came into this situation. He didn't even have to be in this situation. So I owe it to him to stick by him.
And that is the worst, girls. Please don't. And I'm witness to tell you, you don't owe anybody anything. And a real man is going to add value and not take away. And he's not going to be there to, I want to say, disappoint you at all. He's not going to disappoint you because he's adding the value. He's not taking away from you. He's not diminishing you. He's not matching what you do. He's adding. Adding means adding more than what you already have. And if he can't add that, if he can't add nothing, please run.
How long do you think that takes to realize, though, that this person may be worth moving forward with? Because that's always the thing, too.
I don't know if it's a time frame. I feel like everyone's time frame is different because everyone has situations where you're either triggered to stay with that person or you're triggered to leave that person. In my case, I feel like I was triggered to stay with that person because we found our first apartment together and it was like, yes, we're doing big things. So we're doing big things, like, we got an apartment together. Like, yeah, we doing it. Like, we gonna make this work. And just because you got an apartment together did not mean that he was helping. It did not mean that y'all was working together. It did not mean any of the things you thought it would have meant. So
sometimes for us, coming out of situations like that, any little improvement feels like the world. Any little up, you feel like, oh my God.
You won the lottery.
Ding, 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 ding.
You did not win.
Because it's like, wow, you did something great. And it's like, you don't realize that, girl, that's the bare minimum.
And, I think we also look at it as the generation before us. Because for me, at least, I have an older sibling. So I felt like the curse in my family, I felt like I did it. I made it. I did not better than my sister because my sister absolutely did amazing. But I feel like I did it to the point that we're going to stay together and make this work. In all reality, it didn't make it work. It just tarnished the relationship more and more because you accepted things that you shouldn't have accepted from the beginning.
Yes. Yeah. And even to add to that, because we discussed, and I'm more referring to my older situation. Another person I had a child with is like, that's something else we have in common. They both at some point were incarcerated. And so now you're stuck with their child, a child from a previous situation, and now they're incarcerated, and you feel responsible ultimately because it's like, I know I didn't cause for you to be there, but I do have your child, and I feel like if I don't help you, I'm hurting my child.
Yes, and because when you left, we were together, I feel like it's an obligation that I have to be with you when it's never an obligation, ladies. They chose that mistake. You did not choose that mistake, and it's your choice whether you want to stick and ride. Yes, people talk about, be a ride or die. Unless you get put in that situation, nobody can speak because it's no matter how much you put on his books. It's no matter how much you feed his mental. It's no matter how much you buy him clothes. No matter how many visits you go see, that man is already damaged as soon as they lock him up. And the damages that they cause on him, he causes on his family. And it's just a spiral down. And it just gets worse.
And for me, I wasn't even with him at that time. But like I said, like, you have this man's child, so you feel like almost obligated, to help your child, to help their dad. Mm-hmm. And I'm kind of happy we were not in the situation. And in hindsight, I helped, but only when I could. Because I didn't make it a priority, because I'm like, listen, like, you did enough to me, and I in our lifetime together, like, you did enough to me. Like, whatever chance I get to give you anything, you're lucky, even if I do that. You know what I mean? And so for me, it wasn't like that. But it's one thing too, being a writer. I didn't ever think to be a writer in my situation, but more so, I'm like, okay, I'm helping this person, but I know that when he gets out, there is another person waiting for this person.
This person.
You know what I mean? Like, because of past infidelities and past situations.
So why am I wasting my time? Was your mindset like why?
No, I was literally doing it to be a good person, because I knew sometimes you're with these people and you really know their heart deep down inside, even though they don't act the way. But it's like, I put myself like in that state of mind that it's like, I'm gonna help him because he is my son's father, but I'm not expecting anything in return, and neither am I expecting for him to come out and be with me, because I don't want that. Mm-hmm. Like, that person that walked in there, like, there's a reason. I know you guys were together, but for me, I'm like, there's a reason we weren't together.
Yeah.
And I'm just helping you because at the end of the day, we're human beings, and I have a kind heart. And I wouldn't want to be the person locked up and you're
not
making
nobody,
and you're making me pay for mistakes that I did to you in the past. And it's like, the past is the past. Right now, I'm not in a situation to make it better. But I did help him, and I knew in hindsight, and what I knew, and it's crazy, right? Because we know shit, we know things.
Oh yeah,
before it's gonna happen. The intuition is there, and I already knew it was gonna happen.
I hate my intuitions.
Girl, and sometimes you think like, did I manifest that? But no, it's not a matter of manifestation. No. It's just things are gonna happen, and so you can't, because
you know the person. And as much as you want to say that person's not going to do that, that person is that person. And that's why you have those thoughts already, because you know deep down that that's what's going to happen.
I think the point is not to make a fairy tale out of it. And don't think that because you held this person down, they're going to come and repay you and be with you. It's like, you know who they are, and they are who they are, and they showed you who they are. You need to just kind of stick by that and do what you're comfortable with.
Yeah, and I think that was my problem, because the relationship I was in, I feel like we kind of grew up together. So I feel like I owed my life to him, because we did have 2 kids together. I feel like I owed that to my kids to have a family dynamic. So holding him down and paying for everything and being there for him, through those hard times, it was something I owed him, when I didn't owe anybody, because I was young. I didn't put myself in that predicament. My kids didn't put him in that predicament. And even to have my kids involved in that was something that I never wanted my kids to go through. So I was also selfish, because I was putting his needs first before I put my needs first, before I put the kids' needs first. And that's where it started crumbling, because in jail, everyone's mental changes. They start getting insecure. They start believing these stories. And, no one is perfect. I'm not saying that I was perfect. But things did transpire, And because of the things transpiring, he became a person who I no longer wanted to be around, because it was always resorting back to the past. It was always an argument. And when he got home, jail didn't change him for the better. It changed him for the worse. It made him an ugly person, where he wanted to fight every day. He wanted to argue every day. He wanted to belittle me every day. And it was like, all right, this is not what I want to do. This is not something I want to deal with. And then it started to get out of control, where the kids were around and involved. And that's something I knew I didn't want my kids to deal with, because I dealt with that as a, child. I seen my parents, arguing and fighting. I seen abuse, and it's triggering. It's really triggering, and it can hurt your child in the most dangerous way. So I chose to remove myself from a situation that was dead a long time ago. And sometimes people will say to me or look at me like, oh, I can't believe you did this. Oh, you should have held on. Oh, sometimes just because you see the image on social media or you see a happy, that doesn't mean anything.
You have a false perception of like what it should be.
Yeah.
And I'm going to fight for this thing, because that's what it should be like. Like, not every relationship is easy and things are worth fighting for, and I should stick through it because, you know, I have kids with this man, and that's just what it is. Like, relationships are not easy, and this is just what it takes.
And let me tell you, relationships are easy. Relationships don't have to be anger. Relationships don't have to be arguing every day. Relationships where you are happy is healthy. Relationships where you love the other person and wake up thinking about the other person, and you know, bringing ideas to that person is gonna, and he's not gonna tear you down, is healthy. Healthy is healthy, okay? It doesn't mean that something's gonna go wrong at all when you guys are happy. Trust me, and it's healthy.
I think that's where it's important to, now as an adult, right? As a mother, as an adult, now going through situations like that, now you realize exactly what you're looking for.
Yes.
And so then you get to a place where you start meeting people, and you can, so I feel like we're all avatars, right? I feel like, and by avatar I mean I am me, right? I like to work out, I am in the health field, I have kids, whatever. I'm not the only person that's like this. Like, there's other females like me.
I'm the replica of Jen.
Right. So there you go. We're kind of like an avatar.
Yes.
Right. So we're walking avatars. And so when we meet a man that has little things that remind us of an avatar we already had in our life,
We don't want them.
nah, we Xing you out. Don't even talk to me anymore. I'm not having this conversation.
You're a waste of my time.
Nope. But you have to be in that place to be able to identify that, because if you're somebody that is just seeking love and validation,
you're never gonna find the right person, because you're looking for the wrong thing
again, and you'll fall for it again, because, and now it's circling back to like the Queen Warriors, and being able to be in a position to love yourself. And see that you're able to do things on your own, as long as you fight for it for yourself. You gotta fight for yourself
always,
and realize that, damn, I can love myself, I can validate myself. What do I need a man to do that? If anything, I don't need the man to do this for me.
I can do it for myself.
I can do it for myself. What I need from the man is a partnership.
Yes.
What I need from the man is to be able to be fruitful and multiply, because I always say this, we were put on this earth to do that.
Yes.
And so
that's what a partner's for.
That's what a partner is for. It's not to take care of me 100%. It's not to buy things for me. It's not to take me out.
We in a business partner, baby.
It's a business partnership.
Yes.
And it's so funny that you mentioned a business partnership, because my last situation, I didn't even realize, and he's a great person. He's a great person. Like, I feel like if we didn't try to build a business, I probably would have never even realized what I realized. Yes, there were infidelities and things involved, and that probably should have been like
your red flag.
My red flag, but again, you see things in people that you're just like, I don't know.
You wanna grow your flowers, so you give them a little water and you think they're gonna grow beautifully. But men are not flowers. You cannot water them and they are not gonna grow. They're gonna remain the same, baby, because they do not want to change.
I feel like some do, but they need to make that decision for themselves. Like, it can't be like, oh, I'm gonna change
because she wants.
Like, I feel like I'm at that place where it's like, you better come full grown, baby.
Yes.
Like, you better come
You ain't got a job, I don't want you. You don't have a car, I don't want you. You ain't got some type of degree, I don't want you. You ain't got kids, I don't want you, because I don't want no more kids.
I'm not trying to birth nobody. I always used to say that, but I just feel like, I know you have 3, so it's a little different. And I feel like mine are super grown, and I always said, like, I gave my kids my youth.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I became a mother at 18. I gave my kids my youth. My whole 20s, like, I was trying to grow. We were growing up together.
Yes.
But I kind of feel like now I'm entering a space where I'm like, okay. Like, I always talk about my brother. I know you haven't seen him in a very long time.
But he's so grown.
He is so grown. And me and him be having some deep-ass conversations. Like, really deep. That I'm just like, oh, my God, brother, if you're like this, there has to be an avatar like you. Like, there has to be someone like you that can hold a conversation like this. That can... Because I hear a different aspect, because he's my brother. He has nothing to hide from me. But I hear a certain side of him that is like, damn, men can think like that?
Yes.
Like... men can really think this way, and it's like, oh shit, if you can think this way, then you give me hope to realize that
another
there is
man will.
another man like you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's weird, but
I
what
get
I
what
mean
you're
is
saying,
like
yeah.
to find an avatar, like there is such thing.
Yes,
Not all
there is.
men are dogs,
Mm-hmm.
and not all men are out to get you.
Yeah.
Not all men have a second agenda.
I feel like there's always that person out there for you. You just, there's no need to look for that person. That person will come when you least expect it, for sure. And you'll just know.
Yeah. So, but then you have to be in the position to recognize that avatar. And like we were saying, it comes down to being able to validate yourself, because then you're not fall for anybody, because you're looking for the wrong things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very important to come whole.
Yeah.
And I feel it's very, very necessary for you to spend time on your own.
On yourself,
Because this is another thing. I feel like people fall into situations because they don't want to be alone. And I think that's something else that I saw in this previous situation that I
was there one situation like you were in a relationship and then you jumped to another, and you didn't think that anything was wrong with that, but you have to find self first. Sometimes you need that break before another relationship to find who you are, find what you want, find and love yourself.
Right. Because otherwise you're just conforming to whatever comes your way, because you're too afraid to sit with yourself. You're too afraid to sit with your own demons. You're too afraid to just heal.
Now you have a whole nother person there trying to validate your love for yourself.
Healing is painful. Healing is painful, and if you're not ready to heal and you're not trying to deal with that, like, you're just gonna jump for the next distraction.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And that's another thing. Oh my God, the distractions, girl. The distractions. Like, when you're trying to avoid a painful situation, when you're just trying not to feel a certain thing, you look for anything and everything
to distract you. And sometimes those distractions do not be good distractions. Those are the worst, and they could be your downfall for sure.
Yes.
In the long run.
Yes. I made a comment to you that I spent 3 years by myself, like, and those were the best 3 years. Like, I was able to also, that was the first time I went through my fitness journey. I lost my son's father had just went into jail, and I kind of was just like, all right, that's for real done. Like, I'm ready to work on myself. Like, I'm tired of feeling this way. I'm tired of feeling like, you know, I have to depend on somebody to give me that happiness. I'm tired of being cheated on. I'm tired of, you know, being dependent. Like, most and foremost, I wanted my independence.
Yes.
So I did go back to school. I said, for the most part, I don't want to survive anymore. I want to live. You know what I mean? I want to live. So I want to be able to pay my own rent. So I went back to school because I don't want to depend on this other person or be with this other person, because I can't afford my own rent.
Exactly. You
and
want to do it on your own.
My kids need a roof over their head. You know what I mean?
You can't depend on a man for anything. At the end of the day, yes, a man is going to add value, but as long as you can do it for yourself, that's all that you should be focused on. Yes.
You choose if I want to be here. Like, you don't have to stay there because I can't be on my own.
You can do it. I'm good by myself. I can do this on my own. And I don't want someone who's going to add less. I want someone who can add to it, yes. But I'm not going to move from my comfort zone either to satisfy anybody. Because
I don't want somebody taking from my cup, taking, and isn't refilling that cup. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's where it's like you jump from distraction to distraction because you're not trying to, you know, entertain those feelings. And it's like you just gotta sit. You just gotta sit alone.
Yeah, sit, think, meditate, work out, find a book. Find self-love.
So, and then that first journey, like, I was able to lose a lot of weight. I was going to church. I was going to school. And eventually I got to a place where I'm like, okay, I'm ready to invite somebody into this dynamic. Like, I'm ready to love somebody. And so this is where, because you may think that you did all the work, right? But you're only like, and I'm not saying that age is necessarily the factor. But there's always something to learn. Yeah. You know, just because you pass this test, it don't mean that you're gonna stop learning. Like, I got it all figured out. So at that time, then my next relationship came into the picture, and it was kind of like, okay, but now in hindsight, it's like I still accepted things that I think out of desperation too. That's the thing. Like,
when you're desperate, yeah.
You become desperate because especially
two
as
kids.
a single mom, right? So back to the same, same thing.
It's a cycle. It's a cycle.
You got 2 kids, and it's like, oh, I don't even know. And then you meet somebody who has kids, like you said, has kids, kind of has like the dynamic that you're like, okay, some boxes are checked, but a lot of boxes were not checked, and that's where you gotta kind of like sit back and look at the whole picture, and kind of see the red flags for what they are, and not feed potential. So I think that is the biggest takeaway from this past situation. You see potential, and everybody has potential.
Yes.
Everybody has the potential, but you have to realize that potential is just that. Potential is just potential.
Yes.
You can't multiply off of potential. You got to be able to take things into action and be fruitful and multiply. I always go back to that.
I feel like us, not only us women, because men can do it too, but us women, we see the potential in a man, and because we see that potential in a man, we want it to grow, and we try to feed it. And as much as we feed it, it never comes. But you never give up on trying to feed that potential, because you know that it's there, right? And it sucks because it could be 2 years, it could be 5 years, it could be 10 years, and you never see that growth in that person. And sometimes you have to realize that you're never going to see that growth, because that person doesn't want to grow, because you're holding their hands, you're feeding them everything that they want. And sometimes some men have a narcissistic behavior, or some men just want to be coddled, because that's what their parents, that's what their moms have done their whole life, and that's what they think that they need. And they don't have to become a man, because if you're taking care of them, no man is gonna want to go out and do better for themselves, because they're being taken care of. Any grown person, if you're being taken care of, you're not gonna want to do the work. So once a person gets used to that, they're not going to change again. And it goes back to what Jen said. Unless they want to change, they're going to change. And that's not because you're telling them to change at all.
I feel like pain is the biggest equalizer. Pain is the biggest transformer. So as long as someone isn't feeling pain, they're not gonna have the incentive to do something bigger. So as long as you're making everything comfortable, there ain't no pain here, baby. We're good.
Yes.
Chilling.
And it's crazy she said that, because in the situation that I was in, it was like there was no change, right? There was no growth. It was just at a standstill, and it just became toxic, and it was at a standstill. Person wasn't doing much, and I was holding on, thinking that they were going to change. And like she said, they don't change unless they want to, unless they get a fire under their ass, and they're going to change. So once I left, it was like, that person wants to change now, and it's good. You feel, a relief for them that they want to change, right? But after so long wanting a person to change, and after hurting yourself for so long, you no longer care. And it's not that you don't care, that you're like, fuck that person, I don't care if they die. You just don't care in the aspect of, I don't want to waste my time anymore.
But how many times did it take for you to realize that you were wasting your time, right?
Too long.
Because the first time that they feel that any person, it could be the man or the woman, like we're not just saying men, but the first time that somebody feels that pain, they're going to tell you that they're going to want to change, and they're going to change for a month or two.
Yes.
But it only takes to feel that comfort yet once again for you to fall right back into the trap. So it's like, how many times are you going to accept the verbiage of, I'm going to change, and you see the action, so you really truly believe it, until we fall right back into that cycle. So it goes back to just taking your time with relationships and situations in the beginning. And I kind of realized this is one of the things, and let me know if this is something for you. I feel like having sex too early in the relationship really clouds that judgment. Like,
Are you asking me this?
Yes. I feel
I'm the wrong person to ask this question.
Girl, I say this because it's true.
I guess.
If you're my next husband, I'm telling you right now, we
Don't
gonna hold off for a very long time, because
don't believe the hype. So I guess I don't. Nah, Jen, no.
We're gonna hold off. I'm so serious.
So sex can cloud anybody's judgment, 100%, because feelings can get involved. one person can think it's a relationship and it's not. But that's where, again, when we talked about communication, people have to be grown and communicate what this is and what this isn't. Just because we had sex, me as a woman, I'm going to ask you what this is and what this isn't. And as a man, I want you to respect me and give me the answer of if this is what I believe or if this is not what I believe. You give me the option to let me know what you think this is so we can move forward, or I can remove myself from it. And I think the older I got, the more I feel like this, because
I kind of feel of it. This is my point of view, right? Pussy is power.
it is.
Pussy is power. Like, I am more convinced than ever. Like, my pussy is powerful.
Don't use this against me.
My pussy is powerful. Okay. So, I'm not going to sit here and give you my power until I realize, or I am comfortable enough to know that you are worthy of that aspect of myself.
But you do also know that they can hold off and show you a side of them and make it seem like that is, everything is good, everything is golden. They get what they want. It don't have to be a month. It don't have to be 2 months. It could be a whole year, and they change and flip the script. It doesn't, and that's why I feel like it doesn't matter so much as far as holding off on the sex, because any man is going to show who they are, period, regardless if it's with the sex or without the sex. And that's, again, how we go from boys to men. Because boys will do what you say. Mm-hmm. Worry about the pussy. But men, it don't matter if he get the pussy on the first night or a year from now. He's going to come with intent. And his intent is exactly what he wants with you.
But what I mean by that is, at least for me, I'm able, if I'm not sexually involved, I'm able to really, really pay attention.
And think.
And see the things for what they are.
Okay.
That's kind of like where I'm at. It's like, if I'm able to eliminate the sex and eliminate that fire, I'm able to see how you move, and I'm able to pick up on that and see it for what it is. Because when you're sexually involved, at least for me, I feel like I've been put in a place where it's like I see the red flags and I know it's a red flag.
But I enjoy you too much.
Oh, I already saw where that
I can enjoy you in the bedroom, so I'm going to stay right where I am.
So maybe it's okay. I'll deal with that for it. It's okay. That's not that big of a deal.
So, like, yeah, and I get that in a sense, but I still feel like they're going to come with the red flags whether you do it or not.
But then I get to choose on my own terms. Without giving you my power, I get to choose whether I want to deal with that red flag or I don't want to deal with it. So that's kind of like where I'm at now. I'm at this stage in my life. It's like, I'm not, like, my next person has to be my husband. And I'm not going to sit here because I believe in soul ties. Do you know what soul ties are?
Oh, yes, I do.
I believe in soul ties. Like,
I agree.
If we have a sexual interaction, we are
stuck
attached.
With me.
If I see you in the street with chick, old girl, I'm gonna be like,
no, see, no. Look, he already know he's stuck with me. He ain't got no choice.
I saw, so you could be with whoever, but anytime I see you, I'll be like, oh, I remember that night.
Let me go call him up real fast.
No.
Ring, bring that dick here.
So that's kind of where it's at. I'm like, I'm not trying to sit around here with all these soul ties. You know what I mean? Like,
because they can take your energy and do so much bad stuff with it, and that is something I do not want for sure. Yeah,
energy's big. Like, anytime you lay down and have sex with somebody, you're transferring energy.
Yes,
negative and positive. So I'm heavy on the energy. So I'm not trying to sit here and give or take your energy if I'm not trying to be with you for the rest of my life. Like, that's where I'm at.
And I get it.
That's where I'm at, because we've done that so many times. Like, we've done it time and time again. Hence why we've been in the situations that we've been in. And I personally, I'm just like, I'm there. I'm like, no, I mean, the sex is great, lust is great, but that shit is not fruitful. It's not gonna multiply. It's not gonna get me to where I'm trying to get to. So no, thank you. Like, I'm not here for the instant gratification.
Yes, I want to be here for the long term.
I'm here for the long run.
Yeah,
like, I'm here for the end.
Yes,
I'm here. If I see that you have the actions needed to build something, that you have the actions needed to solve problems. Like, how do you solve problems? Are you want to start yelling? Are you want to start, like, insulting me? Are you want, like, how do you go about, maneuvering life?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we see pretty things. We see things all the time. We see the great. Everybody has great.
Yes.
But show me the ugly.
Show me the ugly.
I want to see
And
the
sometimes
ugly.
they don't show you the ugly, and that's what I go back to. Like
It's gonna
they,
come out.
yeah, they don't show you the ugly until they're put in a predicament that it reveals it, and they don't even notice.
Exactly.
Yes.
But for me, I'm not trying to have that soul tie attached to it. So show me the ugly. It can take a
Show
year.
me the ugly.
Show me the ugly. I'll wait. I'm patient because I am to the point that I'm so deep in my spirituality. Like, I don't need the sex. I really don't. Listen to me, husband. I don't need the sex.
Listen to me, husband. Listen to me, husband. We are good.
I don't need it. I don't need it. It's not gonna cloud. And now that I'm a single person and that people are really like realizing that I'm a single person, girl, like when you are glowing, when you are in your greatness,
Yes.
they smell it.
That
They
glow is the real.
smell it.
So I think that's how Jen knew I was in the situation I was in.
I knew. I
Because
smelled it.
she smelled it from mile away because of my posts. Like I do post stuff depending on my mood. So my posts do, reveal a lot of stuff going on with me, or me deleting certain stuff, had people realize that I was, single. And to me, I feel like it's okay, it's fine because they were with me through everything else I've been through. Majority of the people I follow were from high school anyway. And trust me, they've been there since my pregnancy, okay?
Yeah, we was.
They birthed that girl just as well as I did. So, it's okay for them to be in my life to a certain extent. So me being single and having this for social media and people to smell, it's refreshing, yet it's like, okay, what am I getting myself into? Because I don't want the, hey, you single, come out. Hey, you single, what you doing tonight? No, I don't want that. I don't want you. Like, that's not the sign that I'm trying to give off just because I'm, single.
Or you outside.
Yes, I'm not single. I'm working on myself. I'm trying to, be better for my kids, and I'm doing what I do, in my own space, and I'm enjoying my own space, and I'm enjoying who I'm enjoying it with. And that's, I think, the most important thing, because I am happy at the moment. And it's not just because, it's because, yes, I'm free, but it's also because I found my self-worth, and, I'm loving on myself more. And whomever is working with me,
A part of that.
yes, he's working on loving me even more than I already love myself. So he's bringing 10 times what I already brought, and it's building me up, and it's making me this happy person. And it's like rejuvenating because I feel young again. I'm young, but
I feel young too,
I
girl.
feel young again.
I mean, I'm completely like working on myself completely. It's a little different, but I just feel like they see. Have you had this happen where people see this glow and they automatically feel entitled to you, and it's like, what? Excuse
Yes, I've
you?
had a ton of those.
Like, when did I ever say like this was okay?
Right.
Like, when did I ever say that you could speak to me? Like, when did your tone change with me? Like, I that's something I'm battling now. It's like people.
Men don't know how to set how boundaries. They just think that us women like the aggressive, us women like the approach that they're giving, and we do not. I do not like the approach you guys give out, like, yeah, come to my house. No. First of all, this is not what we're doing. Second of all, no, I don't want you.
if you're a man and you're watching this, just know that you can't be coming to females like that. You cannot be coming like you're acting like you're 20 right now. Like, you're like, oh, you single, so when you gonna give me a shot? Like, no. Like,
No.
what? I am a full grown
Yes.
woman.
Tell me what you're gonna bring, but show me why you're worth my time. That's what I want to know.
Thing.
Yes. Why are you worth my time? Why are you worth me even messaging you back? Because you messaging us, right? Why are you worth our time to message?
And beautiful and all that. That ain't gonna cut it. I can tell myself, I know I'm beautiful. You don't
Right.
gotta tell me that shit. Like, you don't gotta tell me I'm beautiful. You don't gotta tell me I look great. You don't gotta tell me
It's a
that
nice
because I
compliment.
know.
Thank you. I'm not gonna say thank you if you keep doing it, but what's next? What's next from there?
I know I'm beautiful. I don't even need you to tell me. Like, don't
But
even need
you
to
know,
tell
like,
me.
what's next from there? Just because you hit up a woman and you tell her she's beautiful, or you say, let's link. What are you gonna provide for her?
Why should I link with you?
Why?
For
Yes.
what?
Why am I linking with you for? Like, what is your intent at the end of the day? Because if you don't have an intent or you don't make your intent known, why am I wasting my time?
First of all, you're DMing me. That's already like no. Girl, I have standards, baby. I have
Don't DM
standards.
her. You
me.
better see her in the streets and pull that car over.
You better find me. You better find me. Don't be DMing me. What's your problem? I'm not a child. That's where I'm at. I'm not a child. Do not DM me.
No, I get it. Yeah.
No.
No
You will be
response.
put on the no list right away.
Is the general and the what? What's the other one? Primary and general.
Yeah,
You're gonna go to the general.
General.
Yeah,
General
real
that
fast.
General that ass. No, like I'm at a place where my standards have become really, really, really high because of all the pain and all the things that we've been through. Like I feel like
Yes.
it has to be that way, and because I already know exactly where I envision my life, like I already know exactly what my husband possesses. You know what I mean? So it's like if you don't come at me correct, you're gonna lose the opportunity for me. And
Yes.
and I speak so highly of myself because I know what I am capable
Yeah.
of. You know what I mean? Like I know what I can provide, what I can deliver, what
Yes.
I can do. I know the power that I hold. So not everybody can handle that power.
Yes.
So it's I gotta be really, really super selective. Like
And that goes back to you having a boy and a man, because boys are scared to have a woman who is made and has not better than them, but who is more made than him, who has more money than him. And men might agree, might disagree, but no man wants a woman that has more than him. Not at all, because it starts this insecurity. It has him feeling like he's not the man, and it's not your job, ladies, to have him feel like a man. And I had to learn that the hard way, because I so many times thought I was proving to help my man be a man. It doesn't work that way.
yeah, I have to agree with that. Like honestly, when you are intellectually higher, when you are somebody who's really goal driven, when you're somebody that you really know what you want and you know the power that you hold, if the person next to you isn't somebody that has that within themselves, it becomes a problem. Like, and I feel like that's what kind of set me, or that's kind of what happened in my previous situation. Like I mentioned earlier, there was no real abuse involved, but that was it right there. And that takes a lot, because a lot of women will stay in a situation like that because it's not one that is, you know, you're not physically hitting me, you're not emotionally hitting me, you're not verbally abusing me. But now there's a certain aspect where I'm trying to grow to a certain level, and because you're not confident in yourself, you don't allow me to grow. And then I found myself also
Leveling down.
Yes, I found myself diminishing myself and like not being loud and not speaking out loud and not doing all these things because
To make you feel better.
I didn't want to make him feel bad. You know what I
Yes.
mean? And I knew it, and I loved him so much that it's just like, okay, like, you know, I'll calm down, I'll stay calm, and it's like, just being
I'm not
here,
being myself.
Yeah, no, and just being here having this conversation, this is something that I wanted to have in the books over a year ago. Like all the equipment I had, all the things I had in place over a year ago, but because I was preparing to ascend to a different level, that became a discomfort in the relationship. And because I felt like, oh my God, we've been through so much, I don't want my dreams and my goals to be in the way of this situation. So let me calm down, let me stop.
Let me not dream anymore because it's not making him happy. Baby, dream.
Yes.
Make your dreams come true, whether that man is pushing for it or not. Because your man, the one that's for you, is going to help you succeed. He's going to root and push you to reach your dreams.
Yes, like that was something very powerful, because it took a long time for me to realize, like, I was depressed. I found myself sleeping, and you're talking to somebody that has never slept. I didn't even know what a nap was, you know what I mean? So to come home from work and feel like I had to sleep for hours and hours and hours, and then I'm somebody that loves to be fruitful and multiply. I like to be productive. So to
Doing
come home and
things.
sleep and not be productive, I just felt like something
Wasted.
is totally
It's
wrong with me. Something is wrong. Like, what is happening? So I had to do some self-reflection, and I realized, I'm like, okay, it's because I'm investing my time. And at the time, I was investing my time in a business that I didn't want to be involved in, but because I was helping my partner, right? But essentially, because I am the one that's more versed, the one that's more goal getting, the one that's more productive, I
have
found
to be
myself
involved.
being the one doing practically everything for something that I didn't even like.
Yeah.
And so I do have business mentors, which I found. I do have coaches of all sorts, and I'm a firm believer. You need a coach for every area of your life.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to grow a business, you need a coach for your business. If you want a coach
can
or a
agree.
therapist for your life, you need that.
Yeah.
Like, it can't be the same person, but you do need a professional.
Yeah.
an
That's gonna
expert
guide you.
in
Yeah.
every area of your life
Yeah.
that you want to improve.
Definitely.
And so that's what I started to gather. I started to gather all these coaches and mentors, that were picked for what I was trying to do. And so I found myself in a place that, I got myself through nursing school, like, straight A's with 2 kids and everything. Like, I had my tribe with me, but that was one of the hardest things that I had to do.
It definitely is.
That was one of the hardest things I had to do, and it was like a burning desire. I had to do it, or I had to do it, like,
yes.
to death do me part. And so to reach that, it's like, okay, now I'm ready for the next big thing, but I already know what it takes
Yeah.
to reach a certain level of success.
Yes.
And because I knew that,
You have to put your all in it.
yes, and because I knew that I was in a situation that I was trying to build a business that I didn't feel like I was putting my whole, that was putting my self-esteem all
Yeah.
the way down.
Because you weren't all the way in it.
Because I didn't like it. You know what I mean?
You were doing it to satisfy, again, someone else. To make them
Exactly.
happy, to make them feel whole, to make them feel like a man. You can't make him feel like a man.
No.
As much as you water that plant, it ain't gonna grow.
And you say that, right? And it brings me back to, like, the Bible and how we women, we are meant to nurture. We're meant to make things grow.
Yes.
But the man has to bring us something to grow.
To
You ever
grow.
heard that thing that it's like the man brings you a house and you make
Yes,
it a home?
Yes.
It's like, that is a real thing.
It
Like,
is.
you need to be able to bring me something that I can nurture.
Yes.
But I shouldn't be the one going out there hunting and killing, bringing it back and cooking and preparing it and
For
giving
what?
it to you.
And that's the point of, why is he there? What is the point of him? There's no point of him. It was no point of him. Because he didn't do anything.
Why are we here? Like, what is the reason? What is the purpose of this partnership?
And sometimes we don't think that's red flags, but it is the red flag.
It's the biggest red flag. Like,
Yes.
you think that you're helping and you want to be the hero. Like, we want to be the heroes, and there's a lot of heroes in the situation. And you could be the woman that's being the hero, or you could be the man that's being the hero. And it's like, when you're in a relationship, nobody should be the hero.
No.
I mean, there's seasons, though. There's seasons
Of
that...
course, relationships go through battles, husband and wives go through things, and the husband, is there for the wife, or vice versa, the wife is there for the husband. But it doesn't go to the point as, like,
I'm doing it all the time.
yes, I'm doing it all the time.
I'm
No,
doing it all the time.
a person's going to get tired. A person's going to get fed up. A person's going to want better. Because
Yeah,
there's
it's like,
always better out there.
I can do bad all by myself.
Yes,
Like, why?
hello. That's why I am bad by myself. Freak this. I'm like, deuces.
I birthed X amount of children. I didn't really necessarily birth you, and
I'm taking
I've
care of you
already
like you're my
given-
child.
Yeah,
No.
I've already given you X amount of time, and it's like, if you haven't done it by this time now, years in, most likely
You're
it's
never
not
gonna get done.
happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And as much as you intend to, as much as you want to, at the end of the day, wants are just wants, right? And you need to be able to put action into
Behind
it in
that.
order for it to
Yes.
become something. Like, nothing is birthed from wishing and wanting.
Yes.
You have to be able to put a plan and go for that plan, be consistent with that plan, and show that you're about your shit.
Yes, because it ain't gonna happen overnight.
And it goes back to the potential. Like, we see that these people have the potential because they talk about it, they dream about it. But it's like, what exactly are you doing, though?
They're doing nothing because you're doing all the work.
And it's like, you're nurturing this potential, you're nurturing this one. Oh, he said he wanted this, and he explained, and he cried.
So I'm gonna
and
give
he
it to
did
him
this.
so he can have it. But what is he doing for you? Besides giving you sex, what is this man doing for you? If this man is only providing sex and he's not financially there for you, if he's not stable enough to be there in the home, if he's not bringing anything to your home, if you guys have kids together and he's not even helping with the kids, just because he is there physically with your children, financially he needs to be there too. And that's where people get it confused, because just because a father lives with the kids does not mean that he's a father of the year, because he could be doing absolutely nothing.
And I'm sure we have a lot of parents in our lives and our cousins' lives or whoever. There's a lot of men in our family that exhibit that.
Or women, because it's moms too
Right.
that disappear and, leave their kids with their dads and think that, just because they're with the dads that it's okay. Like, it's not okay. And we give our children trauma, and as a mom of 3, I try to avoid my kids having so much trauma that I had and things that I went through, because I want better for them. Yes, you cannot always stop what your kids go through, but as a mom, I try to guide them and try to, feed them positive energy, try to feed them what I would like for them to do, what I would love, to happen, what I wouldn't want to happen with them. When I was younger, I always tell my kids, my mom never told me she loved me, So every night, me and my kids, we say prayers together. And, I tell my kids I love them on a daily. Mm-hmm. I can get on their nerves 24/7. Trust me, because they tell me I tell them I love them too much. But you know what I tell them? Would you rather me never tell you I love you? Because how old am I? I don't know.
You're 31.
I'm 32, yeah.
32?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm 32, and ask me when my mama told me she loved me. I don't know. But, we have to change how we are as parents, too.
Yeah, and that's where it goes too. Is like when we have kids that young too. Like we don't. Our kids already have trauma because we were growing up with them. You know what I mean? Like our kids are already at a certain point where we have some fixing to do.
Yes, and so what Jen is saying is true. So everyone knows my daughter. She's 14. She's gonna be 15. I had her sophomore year, and she's 14. She a whole teenager, right? And just like I tell her, you a teenager, you're going through it for the first time, baby. I'm a first-time teenage mom, and I'm going through this with you. And I feel like pulling my hairs out because I don't know what to do. Nobody is here to guide me. Nobody's here to help me. And I want to experience this, but I want to experience it in a good light too. I don't want to experience it as this is going to be the worst time of my life, because It's not something I want either.
Right. And as much as you try to communicate, I mean, it's just them hormones and that state of mind. And just remember when you were a teenager, right? So it's like you're looking at your mom like she's your worst enemy.
Right.
Because you telling the kid, ultimately you have responsibility over the child. So you're telling them what they can and cannot do, but you're also pretty young as well. So they're looking at you like, why ain't you the cool mom? And why aren't you like this? Because I see you like I see how you speak.
They want to be free. It's all about, I want to be free. Yes, you can be free to a certain extent. You still have to realize your age, and you still have to realize at your age what you can and cannot do, and what our parents are going to tolerate and what your parents aren't going to tolerate. 100%. Just because you're 14 and this generation of 14-year-olds can go out and party every weekend doesn't mean that your parent will allow that either. You just have to know what your parents' boundaries are. And communication is key too with your kids. And kids, y'all need to realize communication with your parents is key too, because if you don't communicate with your parents is never going to know what's going on. They're only going to assume, they're going to try to guess, they're going to try to, figure it out. You don't want them figuring it out.
Yeah, but there's also some parents, though, that although you try to communicate, they don't take it in the way, because you also got to realize the state of mind the parent is in. Sometimes they're not in the healing, right? Like, they're just in the do what I say because that's what I say. Mm-hmm. And
I'm the parent.
I didn't grow up that way, so you shouldn't be growing up that way. And it's like, you got to be able to mold with the times. And that's where the fault is, because I see both sides, right? I was the child of a parent who was like, nah, I wasn't like that. Like, you don't get to do that. Like, why? In hindsight, we'll have conversations about it all the time now, because I feel like my family and I are really into like healing and communicating, and sometimes it's like beating a dead horse, because we're
you
constantly
go back,
talking
yeah.
about the same stuff. But we realize that it really requires the conversation because it's almost like we never got down to the root of the
Yes,
problem.
the problem.
And it's like, you know, for my father, he wasn't raised a certain way. So at the time when I was growing up, he's like, going to parties, like that
Right.
wasn't even a thing. Like I was, you know, they were in survival because, mind you, they're in Dominican Republic, they're poor.
The working, right.
You were supposed to go work and provide
it.
at a very young age, not go party and have a social life. Like, what is that all about? So although until this day he claims that he did give me some freedom, he'll bring up this one party. He's like, I'll let you go. And I picked you up at 10. And I'm like, yeah, but who gets picked up from the party at
Right.
10?
We supposed to be gone at 2 in the
You
morning.
getting there at 10. Like, I got there.
He had the DJ booth like, tell Jennifer come to the stage.
I was leaving as the DJ was coming in. So I'm like, that doesn't count for me. Like, that didn't count for me.
No, for real, yeah.
So there's like extremes to each point. So as a parent, you need to be able to at least be attuned with the times. Like,
Yes.
just because you were brought up a certain way, it don't mean that that's gonna be the case now. And although you wanna keep traditions alive and keep them running, it's, you know, you just gotta,
It's not gonna
leave
work
the
for the
space.
generation. Yeah.
You gotta leave space. And that's where it's like, if your child is being open and communicative with you, it's like, take into account, if you're not able to respond right away to what they're telling you, then say, okay, let me just process what you're telling me right now,
and I'll give you an answer later.
I'll get back to you. Like, things don't need to be answered the same night, but just know that you heard and you didn't react.
Yes.
Because that communication is also something that goes with our interpersonal relationships as adults. Like, we hear things and we're like, oh, what? And we want to
react real fast.
We're not like breaking it down to fully understand what the person is saying. We're just listening to respond.
We're not taking it in, digesting, and that's a key thing that I feel like relationships don't work for that reason too, because you want to talk, and you don't let the other person talk. And then when they're talking, you wasn't listening because you still want to keep talking. So
you were thinking about something else. But also what I feel is really important when communicating is like making sure that you understood what the person says, because you can hear and listen, but I feel like something that really has helped me a lot is like, okay, this is what I heard. Like, is this what I heard?
So so that's also what I do. So I have clearly a teenager, a preteen, and then a little boy. He ain't a baby, but he my baby. So it's different ages, and you know, I try to parent them the same, but they all have different personalities, so I try to be fair with each child. And like with Nyla, that's what I do, you know. Like, I hear you saying this, help me understand, or I heard this,
right?
You tell me after what I answer to your question what you heard, so we can see if we're on the same page, or if we miss something from each other.
Right. Even in my previous relationship, like there was a little bit of a language barrier, so it's just like I would even ask, like, okay, this is what I said, and it's like, what did you understand? Because I want to make sure that what I said, that you received it in the way that I really intended it to be. And I gotta be honest, not 100, but maybe like 80% of the time, what I said, like, he didn't receive it how I really meant to say it. So I feel like in communication with whoever, your
it's a
kids,
big thing.
your spouse, your parents, when you're saying something, first of all, ask the person, like, okay, did you understand? Like, what did you understand from what I said?
Yeah.
And if what was received is really what you said, okay, yeah, or no.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, okay, Spanish was my first language. I was in ESL, and then I learned English, and now English is my strongest.
Dominant.
But for some reason, there's a little gap. There's some things that I say that's not how I meant it. So I feel like that's very key. It's like, I just want to make sure that whatever I'm saying, like, that you understand it in a way that I really meant to say it. Because I could say something and you didn't understand it that way.
Or you took it the wrong way, and that's not how I meant it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that happens a lot too.
Exactly.
And that's where communication has to come in. You have to, you know, try to get to understand that person and see if that's what they said, and don't react. See if that's what you understood, because reacting off something can turn something really, really ugly.
And a lot of the time, it's a miscommunication. A lot of the time, like, I feel like 88% of my issues were like a big big miscommunication. Like, what?
Yeah.
When did I say this? Like, that wasn't even what I said. I said this and this, and it's like, nah, but I heard this, and it's like,
Yeah,
no,
no.
like, that's not what I said. If anything, we were agreeing.
Yes, we weren't disagreeing. What happened? What went left? Like, yeah, no. That's
Where
a big
did we
thing.
go wrong here? Like, you know what I mean? So, ultimately, I feel like going back, like circling around this whole conversation, it's like when you're going into something, make sure that you're whole.
Yes.
Don't go into situations only because you feel lonely.
Yes, don't go into situations trying to find love. Find love for yourself first. Self-love is everything.
Nobody can give you that. And as desperate as you get, just think back of all the times that it didn't work out, and just know that, okay, this is an act of desperation, and I probably shouldn't fall for this because it's not going to be fruitful. It's not going to multiply. So I should stop right here, take a step back. And
Listen to those red flags, because red flags only gonna resurface. It's not gonna go away just because you try to flower it and make it go away. Red flags is a red flag, and that's it. A man's not gonna change unless he wants to change.
100%. And then moving into situations with your kids, if you have kids, or just in preparation, being a parent is not it's not easy, but there's also no handbook. Like, you've heard this already, and it's like you just play it by ear. And as long as you are kind of well equipped mentally to face these challenges, right?
It's gonna work out in the end. I mean, don't be a robot cop parent, because no kid wants that.
A helicopter parent.
Yeah, like, always try to speak to your kids too. See how your kids' day is going, because their life matters. Make sure that they know that you care and you want to be involved in their life, because every day something can change, and at any moment, they can feel left out, and you want to be there for them no matter what.
Kids have love languages too. Like, you need to be able to
feed that,
cater to their love language. Like, and sometimes they're too young to even know what that is, but when they get to the point that they're talking back to you, like, study the 5 love languages and see what resonates with them. Like, I know for my youngest, it's touch and hug, and for the older one, it's like letting him know words of affirmation. And when you do those things, they feel love. Like, sometimes we give love to our partners and to our kids in the way that we think is right.
Yes, and find out their way of love.
Right.
Especially like she said, your kids, it's important to find out their love language, because you can think that, having multiple kids, they all have different love language. So you're trying to feed a love language to everyone the same, but they're not receiving it because that's not their love language. So just find out that love language is powerful, because even in relationships, learn your partner's love language, because if you don't know, your relationship is not going to succeed either.
You're loving the wrong way. You're just loving the wrong way. It's not being received, and you may feel like you're giving everything, like, oh my god.
But it's never going to work if they're not receiving the correct love language. And it could be the perfect relationship, but if you're not feeding their needs, it's going to go downhill for sure.
Like, mine is what is your love language?
Words of affirmation.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that's when you were like, oh, say thank you, blah, blah. And I'm like, nah, don't tell me shit. Don't tell me that.
It's words of affirmation.
Oh,
yes.
That's so cute. What is your second one?
My second one is touch.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
My first is acts of service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my last one.
What?
Yeah.
I'm strong as
No,
hell.
I think that's my fourth one. Gifts is the last one. And what is the other one? Physical, words, gifts. I
don't know.
I
Okay,
don't know.
but I just know my first one is acts of service. Like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, because I said I'm a very productive person. So I feel like my dad has always been a hands-on man. Like, has always been the one taking out the garbage, doing this, cleaning up, whatever. So I think that's where that comes from.
That's amazing, because my dad always told us he loved us. So I think that's where it comes from, my words of affirmation. That's really interesting.
Yes. For me, you better do for me. And as long as you do for me, I'm
going to be happy.
I feel love. Like, oh my God, he did the dishes. Like, oh, that's so cute.
That's so funny.
Oh my God, you paid the bill. Wow.
Listen, he better know to pay them bills.
You washed my car. Like, wow. Like, thank you.
That is hilarious.
Oh my God. My second one. What is my second one? I feel like, I don't know. I have to revisit that because I just know that my acts of affirmation is so
high.
strong.
Yeah.
It's,
No, words of affirmation and touch is like neck and neck for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was great. What is your biggest takeaway from this?
Oh, my biggest takeaway from this is, yeah, just have self-love, you know. When you're ready to change mentally and physically, you will. You just have to put forth the effort and all. And once you see the change, stick to it, because it's going to be struggles, it's going to be obstacles, it's going to be people trying to tear you down. But as long as you stick to your goal, you're going to achieve anything you want to do in life, for sure.
Yeah, my biggest one is coming into relationships whole and not settling for potential. That's the biggest thing, because I feel like we all do that. Like, oh, but they have potential to do this. Like, I have so many friends that are in situations that it's just like, you're there because you're still nurturing a potential. And that's crazy. Like, I was in a situation that was always my situation, and now I'm at a point that it's like, nah, you gonna have, I have a video on on my Instagram and I'm like, show me, you gotta show me what you're about, because I'm tired of hearing. Don't even speak.
Right.
Don't
Just show.
Speak. Just do, because I know if you're doing, then you're about it.
Yes, that's
it.
Yeah.
So
but this was good. I enjoyed it.
Write in the comments and
let us know what you loved.
Let us know what you love. What we would like to see more of.
Yes.
What conversations you would like to hear.
We got you.
We got you. Yes. Thank you.
Good night.